Hello, my name is Brian Nguyen and I'm a film student here at Arizona State University. For my creative project, I have chosen to make a video essay on the topic of feminism in the Star Wars franchise. Feminism is a topic that is still widely discussed today, and our lesson over the feminist theory in class was one that caught my eye. As a film major, it is important to look at all the aspects of film, and gender inequality is an issue that still needs to be resolved. This video essay mainly focuses on how feminism exists within the film industry, and more specifically, the Star Wars franchise. The Star Wars films were a perfect pick for this project, as in 2015, the film The Force Awakens introduced a female lead character. This was huge news at the time, as it was the first female-led trilogy and opened up to developing a character that could be seen as a parallel to the iconic Luke Skywalker. With feminism becoming a more popular topic to talk about in the mainstream media, Disney attempted to update Star Wars with more female characters to capitalize on the female consumers, which in turn shifted the series away from the generic male audience and more towards a larger and more inclusive audience. The series had already had success in targeting male audiences with the past lead characters in both Luke and Anakin Skywalker. With the introduction of Rey into the franchise, it became heavily disputed as Star Wars, in the popular imagination, has always been a boy story, and changing this hollow tradition is sacrilegious according to some fans of the franchise. After the release of the final film, Rey's character was heavily disputed among the Star Wars community, and there were many different views of how her character should have been written. Many believed that it was a result of poor writing, but I believe that the direction of her character arc was something that needed to be implemented into the story to be able to parallel it to Luke's journey. The newer films weren't the only aspect of the franchise that I wanted to touch on in my video essay. I wanted to use the original trilogy as a comparison piece. For many fans at the time, Princess Leia had defined feminism and the feminism of many fellow fans, which was still true today, and because of the idea of the male gaze, Princess Leia was subjected to sexualization and still controversial today. In the first scene, Princess Leia is portrayed as a strong-willed woman who competed with Han Solo for the title of the most badass character, while in contrast in the second scene, Princess Leia was subjected to sexualization, and being stripped down and chained up as a slave was as degrading to the loyal fans who viewed her as such. This issue was shown in the original trilogy, but as time progressed, the franchise was able to stay away from these themes that negated feminism, and was able to figure out a way to change the formula to avoid these visual portrayal of women. Princess Leia was the original blueprint for Rey's character, and the scriptwriters were able to see what worked and what needed to be improved to provide a better sense of equality between characters of all races and genders. In the newer films, any mistakes that were made in the previous films were addressed. For example, in The Force Awakens, Leia finally got the respect she deserved as a brilliant rebel fighter by being made the general of the resistance, while Daisy Ridley's Rey was cast not just as the female lead, but as the lead. And unlike the former princess, she didn't have the privilege of royal wealth to support her on this new heroic Jedi journey. She was the every woman hero. The sequel's first film was a defining moment for the characters of both the past and the present, and the idea of both gender and racial equality were addressed quite well. The informative aspect of this video essay was to mainly address feminism, but Star Wars was phenomenal in their ability to adapt and solve many modern issues. Princess Leia and Rey are great parallels when it comes to female representation in the franchise, and their similarities and differences both influence the idea of the feminist theory to both the old and newer audiences. The main takeaway from this informative video essay is that feminism is a major aspect that impacts the many portrayals of women in the media. Without a proper, accurate depiction of women, the idea behind dramatic analysis wouldn't be as accurate when comparing fictional characters to reality. The idea of stories, whether they are fiction or non-fiction, still impact the overall theme of the story by giving meaning that can apply to any type of world. By using realistic characters, the message of the story can be applicable to our daily lives. Although Star Wars isn't a story that focuses on feminism, the idea still exists within the world of fiction and characters and powers. In Japanese culture, there just aren't many anime that have female protagonists, but this formula changed with the introduction of the magical girl genre. This idea is also true with many American films, as the meaning of magic encompasses contesting the ideas of what women can and should do, which are split between the adolescent freedom from social restrictions and the compulsory path leading to female domestic work and community service. Whether the element of magic is fictional or real, women still retain their right to be able to use their abilities to change societal norms that have been created for them. By beginning to equalize their importance in both film and media, the idea of equality could be achieved with enough notice. Hopefully, with Star Wars changing their original formula, other franchises can also improve their standards that have been set in place by existing franchises.